Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Ashton, and today's video is about an interesting myth that I've been thinking about it for some time, and I thought, well, why not make a video about it? Now the story that we are talking about is essentially a folk tale from Hindu mythology. It's about a figure called Prahalad. Of course, if you're at all familiar with Hinduism, you know very little of the actual mythology is scriptural. But anyways, Prahalad is an interesting character, even by Hindu standards, because he is a demon who was pious and who prayed to God. Now you might be thinking, well, that sounds odd, and yes, from a not just a Western sense but also an Eastern sense, it is definitely odd. Hindu mythology doesn't treat demons the same way Christianity or Judaism or Islam treats them. There's basically you have gods or devas who are basically demigods, and then you have asuras who are like demons. Now you have plenty of times you have asuras who become good, and they usually do this by either fighting on the side of the gods, or doing some good deed, or helping humanity. But Prahlad is unique because he never really helped the gods in any way. In fact, he is not just a demon, he is the lord of demons, who even invaded heaven and tried to kill all the gods at one point. Now, a bit of a backstory to understand this. The Hindu myth of creation is basically that out of the waters of chaos, the creator Brahma created the universe. Right now, during this time, there was this demon called Hiranyaksha, and he basically tried to kidnap the earth goddess. By the way, so in Hindu mythology, each planet is literally anthropomorphized as an actual god. So he basically tried to kidnap her, and Lord Vishnu, who is the preserver, he's basically like Jesus. Every now and then when there's evil in the world, he takes on the form of an avatar, and he comes down and sorts things out. In Hindu mythology, Krishna, Ram, Buddha, they're all considered to be avatars. Anyways, so he takes on the avatar Varaha, who is basically a man bull, and this bull comes down to earth, kills the demon Hiranyaksha, and saves the Earth Mother. And yeah, everything's good, everything's great, all the gods are happy, and the world. So then Brahma goes ahead and creates the world from the waters of chaos, and yeah, everything's good. Now he had a brother called Hiranyakashipu, and he was also an asura, and he was the king of the asuras. Now this guy was pissed. He was extremely angry that his brother Hiranyaksha had been killed at the beginning, when the universe was created, and so he decided to take revenge on the gods. Now he went ahead and did a penance, or tapasya. This basically, you go into a state of meditation in which you're supposed to stay for however long you can stay. Right now, Hindu ascetics or Hindu sadhus usually do tapasya for like days and days. What the Buddha did under the tree is basically what Hinduism would consider tapasya. And of course, in this case, because it's a demon, it's said that he did tapasya for 360,000 years. So basically, this demon Hiranyakashipu stands on top of a mountain in a yogic pose with on one leg, and he's standing there for 360,000 years. The vines are growing on him, trees are growing on him. He's basically turning to stone, and then finally, at the end of his tapasya, the creator Brahma decides to pay him a visit. And so of course, he first of all he sprinkles holy water on him, and all the stone is removed and all the roots and plants are removed, and he becomes normal again. And then of course the creator says, oh, you've been a good demon, you've done tapasya. Basically, what boon would you ask for? But he asks for a very special wish, because he knows that simply asking for immortality could have consequences, it could have problems. He says, let me not meet death either inside or outside. I can't die during day or night, and I can't be killed on the ground or in the air. And naturally, I shall not be able to be killed by any being created by you, nor by any weapon, right? And of course, Brahma sees that there's like problems here that it could come back to bite him in the ass. But he's like, okay, fine, because of course he's given him his word. He's given him a boon, and he grants it. So this guy basically becomes immortal because nobody can kill him. Men can't kill him, animals can't kill him. All of the gods are created by Brahma, so none of them can kill him. No demon can kill him either. He can't be killed inside or outside. He can't be killed during day or night. He can't be killed on the ground or in the sky. He basically can't be killed even under. You can't even find a loophole basically to his death, which they do, of course. And so this guy's now extremely powerful. And while he has been doing this tapasya, while he has been getting this boon, Indra, who is the king of gods, and all the other devas have attacked his home, and they hold his wife hostage. They try to kidnap her basically. But then there's this character called Narad Muni, and he basically makes sure that she is protected. He basically intervenes and he tells the gods, okay, she's a woman, don't harm her. And at the time, she has Hiranyakashipu's child, which is Prahalad, and she's expecting. Now, of course, she ends up being protected by Narad Muni, who sings devotional songs and hymns to her. And because he sings these, her child in her stomach, and please suspend disbelief here, hears these songs, and he becomes devout, he becomes pious. It affects him on a deep subconscious level. And of course, Narad Muni usually sings songs of devotion to Vishnu. So Prahalad becomes devoted to Vishnu. Now, of course, Hiranyakashipu returns immortal after 360,000 years. He defeats all the gods. He becomes extremely powerful. He takes over the nether again. It takes over the human world, that's the overworld, attacks heaven all the time, and he's basically become this nightmare which the gods cannot deal with. And at the same time, he's of course his wife's given birth to Prahalad, who has started growing up to be also Hiranyakashipu. Now that he's become so powerful, he has declared himself to be god of the universe. He's not claiming that he's Brahma, he's not saying he's the creator, but he said, I am god of the universe and you can't venerate any god other than me. Now, of course, his son has started growing up. His son Prahalad has started growing up, and as he's growing up, he's becoming more and more religious, he's becoming more and more pious, and he's singing songs of praise to Vishnu. Of course, bear in mind, the whole reason why he got this boon was to avenge his brother's death, his brother who had been killed by Vishnu. So he sees Vishnu as his mortal enemy, and he's mad that his son Prahalad is devoted to this guy. So he basically tries to talk Prahalad out of it, persuade him, and tell him that, well, no, I am God, Vishnu is not God, and Prahalad refuses to listen. So then this guy gets even more pissed. He's like, if he starts threatening his son and says, well, you have to accept me as your God, because I am your God. And he says, no, it's not you, it's Vishnu. So he then fucking finds two human teachers to be the teachers of Prahalad. And he's like, take this guy and teach him the duties of a king. So they take him. And Prahalad apparently shows no interest in learning how to be king, and he starts converting. He basically becomes like a Jehovah's Witness. He starts converting all the children in his village, in the school, to starts telling them about how Vishnu is God, and he starts convincing them to worship Vishnu. And of course, these teachers, they start, they're terrified because they don't want to face Hiranyakashipu, their king's wrath. So they take the boy back, and they're like, this boy, he's causing problems. We don't want to be responsible for him. Hiranyakashipu then decides, you know what? I have to kill him. Unfortunately, Prahalad, because of his piousness, has become invincible. So Hiranyakashipu first tries to kill him in many ways. He tries to poison Prahalad, and Prahalad doesn't die. So he tries to throw him off the roof of a building, and he doesn't die. And the more famous one, the one which is usually venerated in art, is when he tries to get wild elephants, to trample Prahalad, and it doesn't work. And then he at some point he even sent poisonous snakes, to kill Prahalad. And the snakes, because snakes are sacred to Vishnu, they create a bed for Prahalad as a child. So finally Hiranyakashipu gets angry, and he decides, we're going to burn him. He tells his sister Holika to grab Prahalad and sit on the pyre, and then we'll light it, and let me light it on fire, and he'll burn to death, because Holika has a special gift that prevents her from being harmed by fire. However, because Prahalad realizes that he's about to be killed, he starts chanting hymns of Vishnu, and what happens is that Holika ends up burning, and Prahalad escapes unscathed. Now, this particular event is where the festival of Holi comes from. So now of course, Hiranyakashipu starts trying to lose his mind. So he brings Prahalad back to the palace, and he says, why do you not accept that I am your god? Can't you see how powerful I am? I am so mighty and powerful. I can't be killed. And Prahalad says, oh no, God. This force is everywhere. It's ever present. It's omnipotent and all that stuff. And Hiranyakashipu gets angry and he's like, you're saying that this force, this Vishnu of yours is everywhere? That he is ever pervasive? Then tell me, is he inside that pillar over there? And Prahlad's like, yes, of course he is in that pillar. And then Hiranyakashipu laughs and he basically says, well, if your God is in this pillar, I shall destroy the pillar. And thus I will have destroyed your God, which is Vishnu. And so he destroys the pillar. Now, unfortunately, the pillar does break, but what comes out of it is actually Vishnu. He was just sitting there apparently, and he comes out and he has taken on a very interesting form. He's taken on the form of Narasimha, which is another one of his avatars. Now, Narasimha is an interesting figure. He is a lion-headed man. Now, you see, this is important because the boon said that Hiranyakashipu can be killed by neither man nor beast. But you see, Narasimha is half man, half beast. So he's technically neither. And so this happens at twilight. So he's neither night nor day. And then Narasimha basically, he's extremely powerful, right? He grabs Hiranyakashipu and drags him over to the threshold of the house. Because Hiranyakashipu had said, I should not be killed inside or outside. But the threshold is technically between. It's neither inside nor outside. And finally, he puts him on his lap. So he's neither technically on the ground nor in the sky. Narasimha has not been created by Brahma. He's an avatar of Vishnu. And of course, Hiranyakashipu had also said, let me not be killed by any weapon. But Narasimha uses nails, because nails are technically not living, and it's technically not a weapon. So with his nails, at the threshold, at twilight, on his lap, this half-man, half-beast Narasimha successfully manages to kill Hiranyakashipu by splitting his abdomen open. Yes, that's gruesome enough. Imagine this was taught to us in India as children. These were the stories that we were listening to when we were little kids. These were our fairy tales. And of course, after this is done, Narasimha blesses Prahalad, and Prahalad is claimed to be his devotee. And after this, it is decided by everyone present that Prahalad should be crowned the new king of the netherworld. And it happens so. And Prahalad becomes the king of the netherworld. Okay, now what happens? Now comes the important part of the story.